at transit-oriented development, but through bus-oriented. So I kind of looked at creating this bus hub, and then I guess the second form of that development, or the second phase of that development, was Donnie's. So I kind of looked at the core of it, and then he kind of looked at the expansion and development around that hub. So like I said earlier, Northside is the second largest hub of Cincinnati, following Government Square downtown. Government Square currently serves 60 plus bus lines, and Northside is next with about 10, and then following that is Clifton and Avondale with about 9 bus lines. So because of that, we thought that Northside was a good opportunity to introduce a bus hub. We located the bus hub right here off on Spring Grove Avenue. The reason why we did that is for 2 reasons. One is currently Hamilton Avenue has a high congestion of traffic, and the buses stopping and pulling off and pulling back on they aid in that traffic congestion. Also, if you look at this diagram over here, most of the major bus lines run up here or this way. So by reorienting them through here, we're not having to readjust a lot of the routes. A lot of them are maintaining the existing routes that they already have. So that was another main decision that we decided to put them there. Also, we decided to put the transportation hub here, so there's this nice pedestrian connection from Hamilton Avenue to Dooley, which also subdivides these into more manageable redevelopment blocks. As far as the formal inspiration of it, I took inspiration from the Memorial Gardens at the Pentagon and also the Highline Public Space in New York City. The idea behind this was I wanted to create a hub, but also a public space in itself, where people are coming not just to go to the bus, but are coming to go to a park and have a green open space that is oriented around pedestrian activity and bikes and public transportation. So the formal aspect of it came from that, but then it also develops into this, which if you look into the demographics of Northside, it has a high population of artists, and we wanted an area where these bus stops could become part of the character of Northside. So they become like kind of a blank canvas in which the artists can come in and kind of design them for themselves and paint them, taking kind of like the Berlin Wall as an example. They do that now as they paint over the Berlin Wall as like a gallery space. So I have these turnarounds taking precedent from Government Square. I made it so that there are it's not interrupting traffic flow. The buses come and they pull out and into here, and then you also have their own bike path, your own pedestrian path, and then you have a pedestrian path this way as well. And I think that might be it.
Okay, and then moving on from there, I really focused on the subsequent development that would occur around this transit hub and around the inclusion of this. So looking at my area itself, I really focused on the area corridor along Spring Grove, coming into Northside from the east. And really, when looking at it, there isn't necessarily, say, a really defined gateway. Like when you come into that area of Northside, it's still not clear you're in Northside. When you come in there, it has its own distinct feel and kind of disconnected identity as far as as I had seen it with the community of Northside itself, which is traditionally an eclectic, more arts-oriented community itself. And then you just kind of have an industrial area with a few car lots and some things like that. So in looking at that, it seemed like a prime area of redevelopment, especially with the inclusion of the transit hub there. If you look down, all of this is within a 5 to 7 minute walk of the transit hub itself, so it's still very contained in there. And I really wanted to focus on, like I said, a few goals, as I was describing, just creating and establishing this eastern gateway to Northside, creating the subsequent development that would help support this transit hub. And then also creating a commercial arts district, which isn't necessarily in Northside as it is. You have the area along Hamilton, which has its plethora of bars and restaurants, your drugstore here or there as well, Shake It Records, things like that. But there isn't necessarily defined or like gallery space or studio space where artists can come and do that. There's a few small institutions around, but nothing, say, significant or nothing to serve the community itself as we had seen it, or as I had envisioned it. So the development would really go along with that, and also just improving the circulation connection to amenities within the area by, say, breaking up some of these blocks. You can look on the handouts that I had given you. It shows a few different diagrams of just before and afters of the block shape of the building forms and of the circulation patterns themselves. But really in looking at this, I just kind of drew inspiration from a few different places. Really was just in looking at this area right here and first establishing the gateway itself, which would be like the first phase, would be like the inclusion of some kind of like sculptural art, things like that, that would go ahead and help begin to define the like identity of this area. Say commercial arts district is something you may find up in the short north of Columbus, things like that. And then really the development along like around the transit hub, which would include retail, a mix of like residential. It would all be like 3 stories in this area, and then kind of decreasing in scale as you exited Northside. So it created this effect really as you ended, and really highlighted around the American Can development, which will remain as it is currently planned. I didn't touch those plans. But really just focus on the inclusion of residential, retail, and commercial art space along this corridor, and the connection down to the new like Mill Creek corridor and the like bike paths and green space around there. So, like I said, you kind of see like the few different areas, but on that, give it off to you.
And I focused on the proposal of a supermarket into South Cumminsville as a way to revitalize the area. This is a diagram showing where existing supermarkets are with kind of a 1-mile radius showing that Northside and South Cumminsville really don't have a neighborhood supermarket. So putting one in South Cumminsville would benefit not only Northside but Camp Washington as well. And then in terms of choosing the location for it, it's going to be located along Beekman Street, which is a central street and similar to the way Hamilton is central to Northside. So the idea is that you start off with the supermarket at this corner, and after the success of it, it can cause other development to occur. So you would start with the supermarket and a small band of retail, such as a pharmacy, bakery, laundromat, coffee shop, post office, and of essential neighborhood uses, and giving South Cumminsville their own identity so that they feel like they're their own neighborhood and have accessibility to services that they require. So then from there, this development can expand into different types of mixed-use, small-scale apartment buildings as well as row homes. And then looking at it in terms of the architectural character of these spaces is that they would still follow the traditional feel of the neighborhood. They don't have to necessarily look like a supermarket. And it's also, the supermarket could be an opportunity for environmental or green design with daylighting and lots of trees. That was a very important thing to the residents, was the greening of their neighborhood to make it aesthetically look nicer and seem more friendly. So all along these streets, that's a key idea. So I think those are the main ideas with that proposal.
Any questions?